sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. They're gonna deflect. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Sagafor is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick on the Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the aim? They get the aim.
And we're kicking off the playoffs and sealing off our round 1 in the Masters division here with the Void Ravens against Vesuvius. We've had a bunch of upsets come through the pipeline in just the past few days this round. So we'll see if this is going to continue the story of it. My name is K-Wing, and I'm here with Shadow Fang, and look at that bracket, Shadow Fang.
Yep.
Upset upon upset upon upset. Take us through these 3 games we have the results for.
Yeah, Visored, our number 1 seed, lost in a 3-2 fashion, and our number 2 seed, Low Ground Main, who is consistently in the grand finals every year in this tier, also has lost in the first round. And you can see right there, Atlas Kasoku did manage to win their game. I actually casted that one. They were very dominant in their game. This has been a very tightly contested tier all season, and you can really see that in what's going on right here. Even though Visored was unbeaten, I do believe, they had lost maps here and there. They had gone to some 5 mappers, I do believe. So it's just showing that, hey, anybody in this tier can actually win it. And those are some strong teams that are stuck in the lower bracket. So you actually might want to stay in this upper bracket, you know, just to give yourself a little bit better of a chance and not have to deal with Visored, because that is who the loser of this game is going to have to go and play, the number 1 overall seed in this tier.
Yeah, but then you have to think about the fear of, even if you win this game here, you're going to go up against the team that slew Goliath, that took down that number 1 seed coming into it, that took down Visor, that you're going to be going up against the Fallen. There is 2 teams right now in between a rock and a hard place, and we'll just have to see which one takes the rock and which one goes to the hard place, because right now I just see a bad option and a worse option, honestly, for these 2 teams. But enough talk about the other teams in the bracket. Let's talk about the 2 teams we got facing off tonight, Void Ravens and Vesuvius. Both those teams looking pretty strong, and I'm excited to see both these teams. We have some MVP candidates jumping around on some of these rosters, so, and some Wrecking Ball OTPs as well.
Yes.
Take us through some of these teams.
Both of these teams do really love to play that Wrecking Ball based composition, and they did play each other back in week 7 with Void Ravens taking it in a 3-2 fashion. So I have no reason to believe this won't be another 5-map series. Maybe it'll be a 4-mapper, you know. I don't think it's a sweep. It would be crazy if either one of these teams were to sweep each other, just with how competitive they've been so far. Like I said, it was just week 7. That wasn't that long ago. That was like 3 weeks ago, you know? So not too much has really changed since then. So I expect this to be highly competitive, and it should be a fun series.
I think we're in for a great series. I mean, when you have that match history and knowing that those two teams have squared off so closely together and so recently, like you said, week 7, that was late October, if I remember correctly. You're looking at two teams who, for Void Ravens, maybe looking to prove you wrong there on the sweep allegations. And so now let's head into the maps. For this, we are, got a little kick from the producer saying, come on, stop the showboating. Let's get into it. And I can't agree more, honestly, with the first 2-3 here. And we're heading to Oasis. I'm a little surprised we were talking about it here. You were saying you would have lost some money if we were placing some bets on that first map for Control.
Yeah.
Oasis is not the most popular pick, but then again, Wrecking Ball's not exactly the most popular tank.
I would say these are two teams that really want to play Wrecking Ball, and I think Oasis has a lot of room for Wrecking Ball to grapple and just have a lot of swing room, have a lot of space to do slams and locations, good spots to toss mines at, whereas that isn't quite the case on Lijiang. Lijiang is going to be better for like the brawl type compositions and that sort of thing. So I think this makes perfect sense, and this is going to lead us directly into this ban phase. I am a little curious to see what the bans are going to be. We already have them, it looks like. We got a Tracer ban from the Void Ravens, and Vesuvius going to ban out that Juno. I'm not sure if Juno is necessarily going to be played, just due to the fact that we had, potentially Wrecking Ball compositions, but getting rid of Tracer is absolutely gigantic for anything that anybody wants to do with Dive.
And not a surprise coming out of Void Ravens. I mean, you've got Gravelot on the side of Vesuvius, Tracer OTP, and Void Ravens should be intimately familiar with his Tracer at this point, considering previous teams include Visored, name drop, and of course, the Void Ravens, as we actually get a look at these rosters here and their favorite heroes. Now, I will say, some of these are a little bit of a silly haha, and some of these are real. I believe in those Wrecking Balls. I'm not sure if I believe the Junkrat, and I definitely don't believe the Ash out of Gravelot with that Tracer. And I don't know. I'm pretty excited to get into this. Like you said,
Yeah.
What are we going to see out of Gravelot? This self-admitted Tracer OTP.
I've actually played with Gravelot several times before. Gravelot says that, but they're actually pretty solid at everything else. They just like to... They're one of those people that just says, I can only play Tracer, but they're pretty solid on hit scan and any hero you can really think of. Like I said, I've played with them quite a few times. Golly G-Wagon is somebody I would definitely watch out for on the side of the Void Ravens. They are very strong on that Wuyang pick. And that leads me to believe that the Void Ravens are probably going to come out on this Kiriko Wuyang combo to go along with this Wrecking Ball. And if you cannot get pressure onto G-Wagon, it's going to be a real problem for you.
Yeah, and who do you really want to look for on the side of Vesuvius to put that pressure onto G-Wagon? Who should we be looking towards to be the tip of that spear?
It's got to be the tank pressure coming out from Happy Dragon. That's the thing that's really going to do it here. And you can see right there, Gravelot going to be opting for that Ash as well. If you can manage to land some, some dynamites on there, that would be really good. But it's actually looking like the side of Void Ravens is opting for this Diva composition with a Kiriko Lucio. So not going to play the Wrecking Ball at all.
Bit surprising, but we also now have Golly G-Wagon on the Lucio pick instead of the Wuyang as we were expecting. So an unexpected one to bring out as Lynx gets doved on top of a great Suzu to stay alive over the pile drive from Happy Dragon. Now Happy doing the same thing twice, gonna get hit with some sticky bombs and a focus beam as now Vesuvius start to roll onto point. Void Ravens having solid control of this high ground, really not letting them be any safe places on that point. Now Vesuvius, its Jub's in a bit of trouble there on this Genji as maybe a big boop comes in, but they're able to recover. Hunted over the side, recovers with that Kiriko, finds the Ash almost over the side, just hangs on to the edge, and the D-Mech comes in. Now Happy Dragon and the rest of Vesuvius, that's a big opening as Hunted gonna go down. No defense matrix in play, but Luminette going to get taken down from the deflect. The turnaround might be here for Void Ravens. As we're getting into that last scrappy bit of the fight, Lynx trying to duck and weave around this wrecking ball and able to jump away. Nerve gonna take down Jubs, and Void Ravens though have been taking up this point the entire time, now 50% already before they stabilize.
And that's one of the weaknesses of the Wrecking Ball comp, is that you don't have very good point presence, right? Your tank isn't really meant to just kind of exist on the point really well. And with the side of Void Ravens, that is kind of what your comp wants to do. Your comp just wants to hold an area, and they're doing incredibly well at it right now. Great Suzu.
What a Suzu! Saved the life of Gravelot, but can't save the life of Jubs there as Hunted goes right on top of them. And now Happy Dragon in trouble, gets taken down by Lynx. Vesuvius starting to collapse his Nerve onto the hit scan of the Ash. Hunted gonna take down Gravelot, and now they're just chasing them into the spawn, or Void Ravens. Happy Dragon going over to that right side. This Luminette trying to lead the push, but just gets taken down, and it seems like it might be over before the fight even starts. The blade pulled out. It seems just to cut the celebratory cake. Oh, and the sword fight goes the way of Quexian, and that's just Void Ravens taking a solid 100-0 as long as these staggers are dealt with well. Luminite gonna go down. The Genji just putting a lot of pressure on, but there is still a straggler on the point. Are they able to keep it? Not enough. 100-0 for Void Ravens. Vesuvius could not get a foothold.
No, and that right there is why you would want a Tracer, right? Imagine you have a Tracer there instead of an Ash. You're able to get a lot more pressure on those stragglers that are just kind of wandering around the point, staying alive, just a hair too long, right? Like we're seeing Quexion just climbing up the wall, staying alive just long enough for Lynx to get back, start healing, and then Hunted makes it back. And once you've got the Diva back in position to do something, that was basically when the fight was over with. And just the mobility of this comp of Void Ravens is making it incredibly difficult for Vesuvius to really land on a target with these pile drivers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no character here that does not have intense mobility. I mean, we saw that from these Kirikos having to duck and weave around, especially Lynx on this Kiriko, able to evade Happy Dragon incredibly well. Throughout that first round, we didn't see a lot of picks, and a great collapse onto Jubs, and it's another early opening pick for Void Ravens, but two big answers for Vesuvius as they start to cap point, starting to tick up hopefully soon. They need to find another to help stabilize. Hunted getting demeched and taken down is going to be a great start. Nerve down, and that is Vesuvius with a solid and convincing fight win.
And this is where you're going to have a hard time retaking into this as Void Ravens. Gravelot's going to be able to set up on the high ground, get these early dynamites off onto your team. And as long as Happy Dragon can get set up in a position where they can get a really solid pile driver off, that's going to be the key, right? This comp revolves entirely around this pile driver.
Golly G speeding in, basically just ceding the high ground. Boop comes in. Happy Dragon not permitted to stay very long, as now the collapse coming in onto this backline, but it's such a mobile backline with a lot of protection. The Brig and the Kiriko, you really don't feel safe diving into that, as now Hunted trying to take down Luminite and going to get taken down. There you go, Quexian with that finish. Will trade out, but taking out the Kiriko is pretty big. Great defense matrix to keep Nerve alive, but it'll expire, and Gravelot will find the shot to the left, as now Vesuvius and Jubs pushing right back in with the Kitsune Rush. Jubs will demech, but there goes a self-destruct. Happy Dragon is going to get booped off the map by golly gee. That's a lot of ult charge going the way of the Lucio. Gravelot gonna get taken down as hunted, demeched, and destroyed. Luminite bashes Nerve out of that copy. And now point ticking up, so we're about even in terms of Void Ravens and Vesuvius, but Vesuvius will be the ones left with the ball at the end of the day.
It's a very expensive fight for both sides. If you're Void Ravens, you do manage to build up to a Kitsune Rush. You're pretty close on your sound barrier as well, but there's a minefield and a blade waiting on the other side. Happy Dragon has the opportunity to hit a really big minefield if the side of Void Ravens go inside this building.
Yeah, Kitsune Rush pushing in. Minefield's not going to be deployed there. I'm a little surprised at that choice. We'll have to see if the minefields will be beneficial at the end. Nerve going to get taken down. Gravelot with the trade. Luminite gone. And there's both supports. A great collapse onto the backline of Vesuvius. And Void Ravens might just have it. It's going to be Happy Dragon to stall out the point just a little longer. And we'll get them about 5%, which is crucial here as they're now in one fight territory.
Yes, incredibly crucial. I'm really surprised Vesuvius didn't use any ults. Gravelot swapping over to that Sombra now. So you no longer have the hit scan to really help deal with Nerve. I feel like that could be a tough thing to deal with this Echo more consistently if you don't have that Ashe available.
We'll have to see if Nerve can take advantage of this point. Now, the switch to the Sombra, you're right, they don't have much to deal with anything in the air as they're going with an aggressive beat and the blade. They're putting a lot on this blade working out, and there's nothing really in the kill feed to show for it. And at the end of the day, they get the one pick, but you'd really want more to show. Sombra now collapsing onto Golly G-Wagon, and Golly G-Wagon caught alone. Gravelot requesting the Sombra pick, but the blade gets pulled out. It's the Nerf sword. Copy comes through onto the Wrecking Ball. Going to transfer that shield to the allies before getting taken down. Self-destructs from Hunted will take down Gravelot. Maybe enough, but you just need a little more for Void Ravens. But they are plumb out of ults. Link's close to the Kitsune Rush. We got the Kitsune Rush on the side of Vesuvius, and they're going to pop it right then and there in this last now fight as the DMEC comes through. Hunted going to be dispatched immediately. But these finishing picks have been evasive of Vesuvius until right now, it seems, as they finally get the clear, get the team kill, and get round 2 as they go to the tiebreaker round for map 1. Both these teams showing us their haymakers.
Absolutely. That first fight win coming through for Vesuvius ended up being just absolutely massive because that little bit of extra charge that you got on the point ended up being the difference in the round there, because we were talking about that's a 93 to 100 round. So winning that first fight out was incredibly crucial, and it's looking like Nerve is actually going to be swapping over to that Ashe on this third point off of the Echo that we've seen. But Gravelot going to continue to play that Sombra that was working incredibly well. Just really doing a good job of catching out stragglers over and over again. Not going for anybody in particular, just like, oh, hey, here's a stray Lucio. Oh, hey, here, take a virus right into your face, Diva. Like, doing a really good job of just that.
Yeah. Big pile drive out of Happy Dragon to open the round. With those changes, you're looking at Nerve and you're looking at Gravelot, but Luminite gonna get taken down early. 2 supports gone. It's Gravelot again taking out these stragglers. Link's gone down, and it's Jubs and the DPS of Vesuvius destroying the backline of Void Ravens. But now Hunted starting to roll through, start to be running hot, but there's no support, no healing. We're going to have to get a health pack and pick up a Lucio, ceding that point early on. We've seen that be the death knell of some of these teams early as they now roll back.
Yes, they absolutely are. Just kind of trading out damage here is Hunted right now. You're gonna need a little bit more here in terms of dealing with this Sombra. Gravelot doing a good job of just pulling a lot of attention.
Yeah, and a great job jumping in on these collapses when needed, taking out Nerve early on. Nerve now switching to the Cassidy, really trying to get an answer to this Wrecking Ball. As a self-destruct, nothing really in the kill feed, just clearing out the point. And it will be Void Ravens taking control of the point, but we'll have to see how long they're going to hold onto it, as already Vesuvius starting the capture up again, and it'll turn right back at 15%. Jugs gets stunned out of the Swift Strike, but onto Hunted will get taken down. Hunted will take just one pick with them before going off the map.
I mean, some really good survivability coming out of Hunted right now, but this backline of Void Ravens is just taking pure punishment right now. Not really able to stay alive for very long at all. I mean, you can see right there, Gravelot already has this EMP, and you can almost secede this fight right here because, you know, an EMP is pretty much going to kill somebody. Like, there's no way that this ult comes out and doesn't get at least one kill.
Speaking of the EMP, it's going to be onto Hunted. The DMEC comes through, and we see Hunted very quickly get hunted down. Nerve goes down, grappling on the Sombra. We questioned it early on, but I don't think there are any questions as to whether or not this is working. Golly G trying to chase down this Kiriko, and a valiant effort. Didn't work in the end, but a valiant effort nonetheless. But now Void Ravens, that might have been a bit too late in the end. Are they even going to be able to get to this point? They've got Quexian though.
They do indeed. They have the ultimates if they are able to get this point touch off. We're going to see a big ult dump here, though.
Yeah, you've got two coming out. A big boop away. Beat onto the High Noon, trying to get Nerve into an advantageous position or trying to regain some space. Blade out from Quexian, but it's just not there. 4 ults thrown by the wayside. Now Jub pulls out the blade. Nerve goes down, looking for the Diva, just pumping in the damage. And the self-destruct will go into the small room. And there's just not enough you can do there. And Vesuvius will turn it around to take map number 1. A great play, and you have to look at that. I mean, look at the damage of Gravelot on the Sombra. Even Gravelot a little surprised at winning map 1. But there you go. I mean, just incredible. And on the Ashe as well, really high value dynamite, and an incredible map 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it before, like, Gravelot always claims that they're only good at Tracer, but they're really solid at basically the entire roster from what I have seen of them, at least. So, like I said, don't believe what he says there. Yeah, so great Sombra play overall as well too. Like I said, it made some sense because, you know, the hack can still disable somebody. And they were doing a good job of just consistently catching a target out. Like I said, the pile driver, followed by the hack, followed by the virus. And then that Uzi does a little bit more damage than you expect when you're just up close like that. You know, you can delete somebody pretty quick.
You absolutely can. And I think Gravelot was really going to town with almost an older school method of Sombra, of picking off those stragglers like you were talking about. And we talked about sort of those weaknesses of a composition without sort of a more traditional rallying point like you have in your Deathball rush compositions, your Ramatras, etc., that aren't playing as much of a unit is when you're playing that more spread out composition. You are a little more vulnerable to the Sombra, to getting left alone. And Gravelot was there to find those stragglers, and like a horror movie serial killer, picked them off left and right. I tell you, picked them off left and right. And that was really, I think, what turned it around.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, you can throw the dynamites in their direction as Ashe, but that's something you could potentially recover from. If you land a virus and then follow up that damage with those Uzi shots, it's really hard to survive through that. It's just a lot of damage when it comes through all at the same time like that. But we do actually have our next map pick. Came through from the Void Ravens. We're going to be going to Esperanza for map number 2 here. I would say this is another dive map, so I'm really curious as to what the Void Ravens are thinking here in terms of their ban, because, you know, again, it's a very similar map to Oasis in the way that it's played.
Yeah, I feel like you're looking at, like we talked about, I think they're that map pick screams to me that the Void Ravens are sticking with their game. They are not trying to back down. They are sticking with this dive. But the question is, are they going to try and do a little bit of a reaction ban? Are they going to sort of knee-jerk pick that Sombra? Or are they going to try and go at the root of that cause? I don't think they're going to go to the Sombra. It seems a bit too knee-jerk.
I'm going to guess Brigida. I think it's Brigida. We saw the Brigida getting played last map by Vesuvius. If my memory is serving me properly, they went for the ball immediately. Okay, that's surprising to me. I thought the ball was going to be a later pick, but fair enough. You know, it makes sense. If you think you're just going to beat them on the straight up dive better, as opposed to what I always call the goofy character, Wrecking Ball, it makes perfect sense why you would go ahead and get rid of it.
What? Wrecking Ball, a goofy character? You mean the hyper-intelligent space hamster running around in a gigantic hamster wheel using Spider-Man grappling hooks to swing around is a wacky character? You're crazy.
Hey, like I said,
Either way.
It's a tank that does not have to follow the rules all the other tanks have to follow. That's why
fair
I
enough.
always say it's a silly character. It's like Roadhog, right? Roadhog doesn't have to follow the tank rules either. Roadhog gets to just do Roadhog things. The Genji ban is interesting though from Vesuvius.
It is.
Because they were playing it all last map, so I'm guessing they just don't want to deal with it this map. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was much of a problem to me.
Yeah, Jubs was doing all right on the... Jubs is doing all right on the Genji off of Vesuvius, but I really don't feel like... I think it was Nerve. Was it Nerve on that? No, it wasn't Nerve. Oh, who was on the... Oh, was it Quexian on the Genji?
Yeah, and they've been subbed out for Altaria.
Oh. Well, there you go. You've got Altaria, who is listed as a starter with commonly played hero of Echo and Pharah, so might be trying to lean more into that Echo that we did see have some good moments at the start. But I'm interested to see what's cooking up in the minds of these Void Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to be curious to see what sort of composition we roll with here. My immediate thought is we do a double flyer because we saw Nerve play that Echo a good bit. And then Altaria seems to like playing the Pharah based on their picture there. So I'm guessing that we're going to be seeing the double flyer composition and keep Hunted on the Diva. I think Hunted was doing incredibly well on that Diva, just not really getting demech'd that often. And just kind of doing a good job of existing a lot, which you need to be able to do as a tank. You just need to not die that often.
I mean, we'll see how much of this is real and how much of this is postulating. I don't think Vesuvius is going to bring out the Maga comp, but, you know, I've been proven wrong on sillier things before. But for the Void Ravens, no, they are rolling out on Mauga, Reaper. Okay. Have I been away for so long that, like, this is a real composition now on the right?
Yeah, Reaper's incredibly good right now. So being able to run the Mauga with it is not necessarily a bad thing. I think the only thing that's going to be difficult is having to deal with this defense matrix. If you can manage to get through that, I don't think this will be too tough to get this comp to work really well.
Right, some Mauga counters did get some nerfs recently, so Hunted getting demech'd early is a great sign. It's exactly what you're talking about, getting through that defense matrix. And that's certainly one way to get through it, to stun the Diva up and take her down. As now Vesuvius start the bot rolling to this first big point. A really good start as Hunted now gets back into mech.
Yeah, as silly as it is, you might need to run like a Reaper comp. You might need to mirror this, honestly. If you're the Void Ravens, you might just get kind of steamrolled by this comp if you don't do something.
Yeah. Gravelot and Jubs. Jubs is really going wild without the defense matrix. Teleport looking to just jump onto the brig, but couldn't find it or didn't want to push that far in. Respectable enough. And now facing off against the Diva, does have the the Wraith form to just step away from it. So TP's right back.
I mean, we've already got checkpoint. We're like so deep right now, and nobody's even built ultimates yet except for Freya.
Yeah, the Freya ult. I mean, I think this Amp Matrix is gonna be well. That's what I get for doubting the Freya ult. As Altaria must have heard me doubting, taken down 2, including the Baptiste. Taking advantage of the Amp Matrix is now Happy Dragon pushing in, walking with the Reaper, and just trying to delay this a little. Reaper does have the Death Blossom up, but probably not the smartest time to use it. You do have a lot of people in this back room as the brig goes down behind lines. Self-destruct goes through as Altaria gets taken down. Jubs on this Reaper has really been impressive. And now Gravelot on the Ash as well as the Bob goes through. Gravelot gonna take down Nerf's Bob, and Lynx, are you swapping? I feel like you should be after that.
No, it was an attempt, you know. The thing that's kind of tragic.
Yeah.
The thing that's kind of tragic right now is that the Void Ravens used all their ultimates and Vesuvius didn't really use any. They just used the Bob. So they've still got the Cage and Death Blossom, which is an insanely good combo to have available to you.
Yeah. And with them wrapping around, they could get some bot percentage, and I don't even think they needed it. They just used the Cage to trap 1 and get that first pick. And honestly, that's fair enough. They didn't even really need the Death Blossom. Jubs just sitting there waiting. Oh, got found out by the Wuyong. Just needs to go through. The one ult left from the Void Ravens does get pushed through. Vesuvius giving up that space before pushing right back in. Happy Dragon jumping right onto the Juno. And it just seems like they don't even need the Death Blossom at this point. Vesuvius is going to keep the bot rolling past 89 meters and climbing.
I mean, just complete dominance so far from Vesuvius, quite frankly. And Void Ravens, I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is to mirror this, but I don't think the Orisa is necessarily a bad choice either. You just don't have the damage to deal with this Mauga right now. You need something that can try and burn through this.
Yeah, and the Orisa isn't as much of a Mauga counter as maybe she once was, based on some recent changes. That's aggressive there, but with the Death Blossom following you up with 2 kills, 3 even, why not jump in aggressively? As Balky is going to take down Lynx, and you even have the Bob just to keep them in spawn. I think they might chuck it out or just leave it there because 140 meters, and we are 5 minutes in. I mean, what even do you have left at this point for Void Ravens? They have to dig deep if they want even a chance.
Yeah, they have to win quite a few fights in a row to have, like you said, even a remote chance right now. And you don't really have much. I mean, well, you got an overclock. That could be incredibly useful. You got an overclock. You've got the title surge as well. But again, this Mauga is just pressing your Orisa, and there goes your Orisa.
Yeah, and you aren't as protected as you are anymore with the Orisa, with that gold, and you just aren't as protected anymore. And no tank, and now the bot's breathing down your neck again. You're going to have to fend this off for 4 minutes and basically do what they did to you in these 4 minutes. I just don't know if I see it happening. We could see Void Ravens go down 2-0 immediately. This is not looking good for them as the Amp Matrix rolls through. Balke in a bit of trouble, has to throw down Immortality Field just to keep themselves alive in the end. Gravelot holding on to this Bob, just probably looking for it to pressure out the point in just a little bit. As now Jubs putting some pressure onto the Tracer of Altaria. The Bob thrown in right to the back line, but Nerve's gonna get the headshot onto Gravelot, but there goes the revenge from Bob. And honestly, Vesuvius are fine to just blow time like this and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, for Vesuvius, they don't really care at this point because you're still sitting at 0 meters if you're Void Ravens, right? This is a moment, if you're Void Ravens, you need to get a kill before this regroup happens. Like, just go in, try and get somebody with this pulse bomb. Don't allow Vesuvius to regroup.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's possible as the recall forced out before Altaria could even sniff a member of Vesuvius. And now Altaria is just getting hunted by this Reaper. There goes the overclock from Nerve. Needs a pick here. Almost found Jub, but Happy Dragon does get taken down. Gravelot in trouble. Can they get the kill confirmed? They can. Nerve chasing down the Cassidy. And now a touch of life finally being shown off of the side of Void Ravens. But there's a lot of ults on the side of Vesuvius.
Oh, there's so many available, namely that Cage and Death Blossom. That is a combo that's more available now than it was previously. You still have to deal with Orisa Spear, but if you can get that out, it's pretty free.
Yeah, and Jubs already took a life, no ult necessary, 2 picks, and I mean, off of just the overclock, but Nerve just hit a double kill, a collateral there, as the Kitsune rush. Nerve. Oh my gosh. Okay, Nerve. Okay.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's the kind of play you needed right there. That can help. That can help you significantly. You'll get checkpoint off of this. You'll get around this corner before the next fight happens. You need to now. Granted, you need to win this next fight if you're Void Ravens, because you got a minute and a half left. This next fight needs to be a 1 fight. It's going to be very hard. You've got 3 ultimates available for Vesuvius, namely that Cage Blossom as well as the Rally.
Nerve in trouble. Nerve's gonna get taken down early. The hero of last fight won't even be in this next fight. And now you have that Cage Death Blossom combo on a platter. But they might not even want it at this point. Vesuvius, they're just rolling through, looking to take high ground away from Void Ravens. And with a minute remaining, the Void Ravens are in desperate need of a miracle to keep themselves alive in the second map. Jubs might have overstepped. Balke going to go down. There goes the Malga. 55 meters to 140. You have 90 meters to go, and you're still losing people. Void Ravens, they need to be perfect.
They absolutely do. You cannot lose any more players here. You're at a point right now where the regroup is happening, so this is okay. This is the ult dump fight right here. I keep talking about this Cage Blossom. Vesuvius has just been holding it. There's no way you're going to be able to continue to hold ults because now Void Ravens has built up theirs as well. So there's going to be a crazy exchange that happens this fight.
Yeah. Gravelot going low. There goes the blast through. Deadeye over top. It's Gravelot. Gets the Orisa. And there goes Nerve. Takes down Balke. Nerve with 2. There goes the Cage. Is the Death Blossom going to come in? The Death Blossom lands 2. Trapped in the cage. It's just Nerve. Can't do it. Jubs takes down Nerve. And Vesuvius now up 2-0 within sniffing distance of round 2 and of sweeping Void Ravens, the team that just edged them out not 3 weeks ago. They are within striking distance of hitting them with a 3-0 and a potential lightning bolt statement out of Vesuvius that this is not the team from week 7.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they've been pretty dominant so far, quite frankly. That last map did come within, like, I would say 2-fight territory for Void Ravens. It just took them swapping off of the Orisa for them to finally start getting some real progress. You know, maybe if they're on the Orisa from the beginning, that's a much closer map. But that's just, that's just how it goes sometimes. And the Vesuvius did a good job of holding that Cage Blossom, and they used it only at the very end when they absolutely had to. You confirmed like 2 kills immediately off of it, and just honestly a good job of Vesuvius not wasting any ultimates. Like every time they used an ultimate, it was incredibly effective.
Yeah, Vesuvius were incredibly efficient with these ultimates, but now you're going into round 3. We talked about, you're going into map 3. We talked about how the Wrecking Ball pick was something we thought would be saved for later. Well, it's later now. And Void Ravens have just been defeated on both fronts. They've been defeated on the dive with the Wrecking Ball, and they've been defeated in that brawl, in that Malga v Orisa. What is left, Shadowfang? What tricks can Void Ravens pull out of their bag? What can they do to turn around their fortunes? Or at this point, does it look like they might be consigned to that lower bracket?
Yeah, it's tough to say. It's looking like, just based on the first 2 maps, that Vesuvius has this in hand. But there's always a chance of Void Ravens figuring something out in this next map. I do think, though, that a lot of this is going to depend on what map they do end up deciding to pick. That's going to tell me a lot, and we do have some choices here. So we've gone to push now. We have Flashpoint, Hybrid, Escort available. Of all these map types, I would say that Escort, well, from what we've seen so far, actually, I think Flashpoint is going to give us the most different game from what we've seen so far. I think if you go to like a Suravasa, you can force like a more, more brawly playstyle potentially. I think if you're Void Ravens, you would actually be happy to run it back on the comps that we just saw, because you were winning out overall once you swapped over to the Orisa. So I would say that that's probably going to be your pick here, is going to be a Flashpoint map of some sort. I don't know, I could be totally wrong though.
Honestly, I completely agree. I think when I've seen these moments happen, and when I've seen it go the way the team that's down 0-2 at this midpoint, Flashpoint has been a pretty good way of changing your fortune, of changing what at this point kind of seems like your fate. And I mean, you called it from a mile away, Shadow. Suravasa is going to be our next and potentially our final map here. It is that first to 3. So the Void Ravens, they have one last shot, one chance to do this and to keep this series alive. We thought this was going to be neck and neck. Now it's up to the Void Ravens to show us that we were right.
I mean, this is the last pick that you get as Void Ravens too. So if you are to continue winning, you're going to have to ban second, as well as you don't pick the map types from here on out. So with that being said, Void Ravens are getting the first ban out here. And I think this seems like a knee-jerk reaction, but this is a good Malga map. If you don't want to see that, you can ban Malga, or you might ban Reaper. I think the Reaper would be the better pick here personally, because I think that just kind of disables Malga, not having the Reaper.
I mean, yeah, but one thing we were talking about is that they were doing pretty well when they had it on a favorable matchup, when they finally bucked up a little literally, considering that you've got a quadruped tank, and they switched to that Orisa. They're banning the Lucio.
Okay.
Interesting. What do we got out of Vesuvius? But what do you make of that, the Lucio ban?
It means they want to force Juno, right? Because this
Yeah.
is a map where speed is almost entirely necessary, you're almost forcing everybody to play Juno at that point. And we've seen that Void Ravens prefers Juno over anything else, so that makes total sense to me. And I think if you're Vesuvius, you go ahead and ban Sojourn here. Nerve was doing a great job on that Sojourn pick, so why not just go on ahead and get rid of it, you know?
I mean, personally, I don't want to see the Sojourn ban, not because of any like strategical reason. I just love the Sojourn play. Vesuvius ban Tracer. I suppose they didn't do. I suppose, yeah, they didn't do that in map 1. So, okay.
All right, fair enough, I guess, you know. Yeah, the Tracer ban does come through for Vesuvius. Just, I guess, wants to make sure that the character that I think has the most carry potential in the game, Tracer, it just isn't available to be had here, right? Because if you have a crazy good Tracer game, you can just deadlift the lobby like almost single-handedly. So, I mean, it's not a terrible idea to get that out of here. And I think this leans us more into the Malga compositions, quite honestly, with like a Juno Brig backline. I could be mistaken, but that's what it feels like we would definitely lean towards here, just based on these two bans that we've received.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. You know, you said it was a little knee-jerk, but Nerve was a highlight of the Void Ravens performances in that second half of our push map, and so I guess we'll have to see if the Sojourn comes out again, and if it does, what's the plan to deal with it? Is it going to be this Genji and Sombra? Looks like we got the Cassidy, and it looks like we're going right back to this Wrecking Ball v Diva matchup. Interesting. This is not something we've seen success out of from the Void Ravens. Let's see if they've learned anything as the doors open on our potentially last map.
This first fight's going to tell me a lot, because that was the big crux of the issue for Void Ravens on the control maps, is they weren't winning out fight 1, and they ended up losing points by like 7%. So if you're Void Ravens, I would put some heavy emphasis on just making sure you win this first fight.
And it's way more important in Flashpoint, as Gravelet escapes with 3 HP. Does get found out in the end by Lynx, but Void Ravens have found 2 massive picks. The DPS gone from Vesuvius, and that'll be fight 1-1 for Void Ravens. Might be a reversal of fortunes, finally.
That was a great play by Lynx and Golly G-Wagon. They saved each other right there. Otherwise, Gravelot was going to do the same thing that they did on map number 1 and just take out the supports early again. So you got to make sure you're doing a good job of peeling for each other. And there goes Gravelot winning the Sombra 1v1. I don't think I've seen one of those before.
Yeah, and Gravelot just keeping the pressure on the D-Mech onto Hunted, and Void Ravens come apart piece by piece.
You do manage to get up to 50% if you're Void Ravens, so it's going to be a little difficult to retake into this, just because Wrecking Ball is so hard to try and blow up with a stun, but Altaria does take the Sombra 1v1 that time.
Yeah, but Happy Dragon, great call out though of Altaria used all the cooldowns, chase them down and get them, and that's exactly what happened. Altaria got chased down. He got as now Vesuvius take the lead with a headshot from across the map from Golly G. Deadeye to clear some space. Jubs does get hacked up by Altaria. Now Gravelot with the EMP online. Nerve crosshairs onto Jubs. There's the Kitsune Rush. There goes the EMP onto 2. Hunted goes down. And the self-destruct not going to land much of anything. Not even the remech, as now Vesuvius they'll cap point A with that cap late in the percentages, especially if they get the stagger onto Lynx. Could be devastating. They'll land it.
Oh, that is tough to see Lynx go down like that. Now you're just going to continuously push into this fight. You have minefields available as well if your Happy Dragon Blade is online. This is rough. This is rough.
This is rough in a lot of ways. With the DMAC, it just seems like Void Ravens, they had a promising fight won, but just it's not enough. EMP is online for Altaria, so Void Ravens does have this big opportunity to get a pick and get this first fight in, even if you're going to have Void Ravens pushing into a minefield as well.
Yeah, it's really just going to do a lot of, just space holding, if you will. But that is an immediate blow up on Happy Dragon, followed by a blade.
Oh my gosh. And Jubs takes out 2, immediately resets the battle back to a 3v3. Altaria goes down to a 2v3. Golly G-Wagon looking to make a difference and just trades back and forth. It's a 1v2. The Diva gets demeched and just says, so long. It's Vesuvius taking this point again, up to 50% as well.
I just want to know where that Suzu went, because it looked an awful lot like Golly G-Wagon threw a Suzu on the ground, and it must have been on a hill or something. Oh, okay. Suzu got deflected there. That is a crazy good play. Altaria taking down Jubs, though, is exactly what you need here if you're Void Ravens. You need to capitalize on this.
Oh my gosh, the Suzu. I'm not over the Suzu getting deflected, but we're back into the fight. Void Ravens roar onto the point. But there goes Happy Dragon. Lynx gone. A great play by Hunted to hold the line and hold the door. Is Hunted going to get demacked? Gravlat taken down. So is Golly G. Scrappy fight. And with 84%, it's not one the Void Ravens can afford to lose. Now 1-0, looking down the barrel of 2-0 in the map score. It's now Hunted and Nerve get taken down. Jubs with 2, and the point flipping over to them. Jubs chasing down that Wuyang. 3 ults for Void Ravens, but can they get a foot on the point? The answer is no.
No, that was just a little bit of an overstep by Hunted there. As soon as Hunted lost mech, that fight was basically over with. And that's really unfortunate because you had such a crazy good ult advantage going into that fight. And now you don't have it anymore, right? You can go in with this EMP if you're Altaria, but like I said, you need to delete somebody immediately with it before they can respond with ults.
Yeah, and Gravlat's gonna throw out the EMP and it's gonna land on Altaria! The blade gets pulled out, but Gravlat gets taken down. Lynx and Jubs taken 2 out with the blade. We'll get taken down in the end by the virus collateral, but it's a team kill. So Vesuvius is going to take 3rd point and now is 1 away, basically about a fight and change away from taking this map.
Void Ravens is just being entirely too passive right now. They've had the advantage quite a few times and they just haven't capitalized on it at all. They've just kind of held on to their ultimates and just waited a little too long to engage.
EMP was waiting for it. He's gonna take them down. Nerve gets destroyed quickly. Luminat goes down and Kitsune thrown in a little late, but Hunted is going to take down Gravelot, but it's just too little too late. Hunted needs to get out of dodge at this point. There is nothing that Hunted is doing by just staying there. If Hunted gets demech, that could be the end of it. Throws in the self-destruct over the top to remech. It's actually a bit of a smart play to not get staggered. Now there's the opportunity. Last one.
Oh my goodness, minefields are going to be available for Happy Dragon. These are going to go like straight onto the middle of this point.
And that's exactly what happens. Happy Dragon barely able to escape 30 HP and a dream. But this Kitsune Rush expires. It is Lynxed and only Lynxed with an ult on the field right now. 97% as Void Ravens do manage to take this flashpoint, securing themselves just a little bit more life as Gravelot goes down. But the point cap goes through. Overtime Wick starting to burn. Tidal Blast onto Haunted, not much in the way of damage off the Tidal Blast. But now the point cap coming through. It seems like Void Ravens believe they've got this. And it is agreed by Vesuvius. Taking a sec.
The Void Ravens don't only have to try and reverse sweep this series, they also have to try and reverse sweep this map just to even stay in this series right now. And this spawn camp coming through from Happy Dragon is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a wild time to spawn camp. They're spawn camping Nerve. They actually spawn camp Nerve. There's no way. There's no way that Happy Dragon called it a lost cause, and then Gravelot was like, no. Let me try. I've got this. And then had it. The EMP is going to take down Hunted. Overtime Wick's going to start burning. Nerve has the Deadeye, but there's no one left. Hunted's already called out GG well played. And that it is GG well played. Vesuvius, after getting barely beaten out not 3 weeks ago, has come back into the playoffs with a dagger. 2 Void Ravens, 3-0, moving on to take on the team that upset the #1 seed. There is quite a lot going on there, but Vesuvius have won in incredibly convincing fashion, showing so much improvement. I mean, you talked about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks is not a lot of time.
No.
It's just not. And to go from barely losing to absolutely seeming a step ahead throughout the entirety of 3 maps. It is incredible. Vesuvius should be incredibly proud of that, for one, and stunned I am about that. Incredible play.
No, I mean, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's, and this tier is now wide open because the only higher seed that won is Atlas Kosoku. Every other lower seeded team has won their match in the first round. So there's really no telling what's going on at this point. You can see it right here. The teams on the bottom are all the lower seeded teams. And I mean, granted, this was like a 4-5 matchup, so it was pretty close to even. Should have been at least. But we saw a 3-0 in the favor of Vesuvius. And there's no telling what can happen here. I think the lower bracket and the upper bracket are both going to be crazy because you have all the teams that were supposed to be our top teams in the tier down in the lower bracket now.
Yeah. And like Void Ravens, normally when you are a 14, like normally when you're the 4 team or the 5 team, when you're toward the middle of that, going into a bracket like this, you take pride in like when you know, if you lose that game in that number 4 versus number 5 game, then you're probably going to go down and face the 8th seed. But no, actually, you're going to face the multiple time champion, Visorid, and that just has to be, oh my gosh, that just has to be like a little bit of salt in the wound. Just doing a run through of the teams that Gravelot has played for. But oh wow, I'm so interested to see Vesuvius versus the Fallen, to see if the Fallen can prove that 3-2 win against Vizard wasn't just a fluke. And honestly, kind of ditto for Vesuvius. All of these teams have so much to prove. Iliad Poseidon as well, looking to prove that again their win against Low Ground wasn't a fluke, and just are only 3-0, and it is the one game we expected to be a tight contest. This Masters division has been nothing but surprises.
Yeah, it's something with me too. Every game I cast is a 3-0 one way or the other. Not exactly sure what that's about recently. Casted 4 games in the playoffs. I think one of them wasn't a 3-0, and it was the other game in this tier that was a 3-1. So yeah, it's been an odd week for me. I don't know what's going on. All these series are supposed to be close, and one team's just like, we're gonna just dominate tonight.
I know, and we're going to have a chance to talk to some people about this game. We're going to have an interview with someone on that victorious Vesuvius team. A lot of V words in that, but we've got that interview coming up right for you. So stick around. Don't change the Twitch channel, because we're going to be right back with an interview from our victorious team. So we'll be right back. Catch you soon. Oh, hello and welcome back. We have an interview with the one and only Confessor. Confessor, thank you for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, for those of us that might not be up to date, you were Gravelot. Okay, sorry, I was just off. But starting off, going into this, we were prepping all of the fans at home watching. We were going, be ready for a map 5, because the last time Vesuvius and Void Ravens faced off, it was a 5-map banger. It was a barn burner, and you guys just barely lost out on that. How does it feel to take down a team that you just barely lost to not 3 weeks ago in pretty dominant fashion?
I don't know, because before we lost to them the first time, we played them in scrims and it wasn't close. So when we lost to them, I was shocked. I was like, what happened here? How did we lose 3-2? So I think this is actually how it should have been in the first place. I think the 3-2 was the outlier, and this 3-0 is how it should have gone in the first place, because I think we are the better team, and we proved it. I think the outlier, was a 3-2. So I'm not too shocked about this result. I'm happy it was nice and quick. I'm happy there was no drama.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely makes perfect sense to me. So I'm going to ask, the tier has been kind of crazy so far, with basically every lower seed winning so far. What do you think about just that as a whole, and the fact that you're going on to play the Fallen instead of Visored in the next round?
I think this has to be one of like the best CGL Master seasons we probably had. I don't know the lore, but every team can beat every team. Like, for some reason, Iliad Poseidon just have low ground main's number. Like, I don't know why. They just can't beat that team. Then you have the Fallen and the Visored. Like, Visored whooped the Fallen 2 times they play them. 3rd time they play them, they lose. And you have teams like Atlas, who are either gonna dominate or lose comfortably. It really is up in the air. So, yeah, I'm pretty shocked. But I think it's to be expected with this tier because it's so hotly contested.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess my other question is going to be more related to, in this match, what was the thing that prompted you to go from the Ashe over to the Sombra and then just kind of permanently stay on the Sombra for the rest of the series?
So Tracer, I'm pretty much a Tracer player. I mostly play Tracer, but she got taken out back and executed. Like, she got absolutely murderized, and I just don't see the value in playing that character anymore, because the effort you have to put in to get the modicum of value the rest of the DPS cast get it's not close. So I am the hit scan of the team, even though I only play Tracer, so I decided to go Ashe. She got buffed, she's basically more of a sniper now. And on the shorter range maps, it was kind of hard, because it's so easy to get dived. There's no like throw poke phase. The D.Va just walks and you're just dead with the Lucio speed. So I decided, well, I'm not gonna go Tracer. I'm just gonna go Sombra, because Sombra's pretty good into D.Va if you can hack and watch the DMing. And then they took us to just places where the Sombra, or places where I would play Tracer, but as I said, I'm gonna play Ashe on Esperanza. They go Tracer, so I decided I'm gonna go play Cassidy, which is kind of a throw pick. Then they take us to Esperanza. I'm never playing Ashe there. Never in my life. So I'm just going to stick on Sombra and just be annoying as possible. So yeah, the reason I'm on Sombra is because Tracer's banned. That's pretty much it. Not banned, but Tracer's not good. That's pretty much it.
Alright, makes sense to me.
Oh, all right. Giving you another question here. Like you said, going on and facing off against Visored, against that 8th seed. What do you think about that interaction with you guys? What do you think? You know, you said every team can beat every team. Do you think that this is going to be maybe a handy win, or do you think that this is going to be a really big struggle for you guys?
We're playing Fallen, right?
Yeah, Fallen is going to be the
Fallen.
Or Fallen, pardon.
So this is our 3rd time playing the Fallen this season. First time we won 3-2. Second time, it was the exact same maps in the exact same order, but we lost 3-2. So this time, I don't know. This one really is up in the air. I don't think there is an outlier. I think, unlike Wood Ravens, I think these teams are very close, and we could win, and we also could lose. So I really can't tell you. I do know that we'll be putting in the prep. I'm gonna drill my team as much as possible, and we're gonna be locked. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
All right. Well, one last question before we thank you for coming and we end off the stream. While you're on, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Anyone you want to thank before we wrap it up?
Is there anyone I want to thank? I would like to thank the CGL mods for being normal human beings because I've been in so many leagues where I get into arguments with the mods because they feel like the moderator moniker means that they're just your overlord and they boss you around and they're a better person than you. But I feel like the mods here are like amazing. I have no beef with any of the mods. I think they're all great. I actually enjoy being in this league and all the work they do. Headrammer, Fish, all of them, even the ones I've argued with, Reese, Ghost, they're all great. Synergy, they're all great. So shout out to them. And shout out to our casters as well, obviously. I love the work CGL does, so big ups.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And congratulations to you, and good luck as you go through and navigate this wacky upside down league of upsets abounding. Good luck with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Confessor, aka Gravelot, from that Vesuvius squad, going on now to face the Fallen, not visored, as I so wrongly said in that interview.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it for us here now today. A pretty shocking series of events that we went through, but an incredible game nonetheless. Thank you for joining it with me, Shadowfang.
Yeah, absolutely. Is a great time as always. And, you know, keep your eyes peeled. We're still in the midst of playoffs. We're mostly through round one at this point. So pretty much every day we should be having a stream up, or most every day. Just keep those notifications turned on. Keep an eye on the stream servers and whatnot. And we are going to be raiding CGL 1, so stick around here for the rest of that game as well. You have anything else to finish off with, Kay?
No, we're going to be jumping into Tarnished versus Boop Troop in
Open tier.
right where they in that game in progress. So we won't hold you for any longer. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for our production team for putting this on. But let's hop in very quickly to that Boop Troop versus Tarnished game in progress. We'll see you there.